Hello guys, welcome back to the new video. In the previous two videos I have told you about the choroid and ciliary body. Today in this video we will be studying about the iris. So you can say that iris is an adjustable diaphragm behind the cornea and in front of the lens. So as in the previous video, this was choroid, this was the ciliary body. Now this is a adjustable diaphragm, this is iris, this is ciliary body, this is choroid, and this is iris. Now one thing which must be made sure is that this was the pigmented epithelium of retina. Here I have not made the villus structure in the ciliary body, okay? This is the video on iris. The part where these epithelium ends is called as pupillary rough. Now here comes the neuronal layer, or you can say neural layer of retina. Now let me tell you that iris consists of two parts. This is the anterior part and this is the posterior part. So this will be anterior because here will be the cornea, so this will be anterior and this will be the posterior part. Posterior part is double epithelialized with the pigment, let me write this, pigmented epithelial layer of retina, neurals or neuronal layer of retina. As I have already told you that the rods and cone cells ends at ora serrata, but at the back of iris the neuronal layer of retina becomes highly pigmented. Here the neuronal layer will become highly pigmented. Now the next thing which must be noted is that the double epithelium in the anterior part of the epithelium now moving from posterior to the anterior part, this will now become the anterior portion. So here are the myoepithelial cells in the ciliary body. Let me make it with different color. You can say here are the myoepithelial cells arising from the ciliary body. Now these myoepithelial cell results in the formation of one of the most important muscle called as the dilator pupillae. Here is the dilator pupillae, and just at the anterior border of the iris it has no specialized epithelium or endothelium, but it consists of fibrocytes. This is the anterior part, so here there will be small amount of fibrocytes. You can say these are the fibrocytes. These are fibrocytes. Now in between the dilator pupillae and the fibrocytic layer, this portion is called as stroma. Stroma of iris. Now here just above the pupillary rough, here is another muscle called as the sphincter pupillae or the constrictor pupillae. The stroma consists of collagen. Stroma of the iris consists of collagen along with some of the melanocytes me make melanocytes black. These are melanocytes. Now, as here are two most important muscles, dilator pupillae and constrictor pupillae, which helps in the dilation and constriction of pupil as light falls on the pupil. Now coming on to the, okay, I'll write it here only. This was ciliaris muscle, longitudinal fibers, radial, circular. Here would be the lens. This was pars pliccata, this was pars plana. Coming on to the nerve supply, the dilator pupillae is provided nerve supply by the sympathetic fibers. Sympathetic fibers arising from the T1 section. In the next page I'll write you the nerve supply. So from T1 it will go to the sympathetic chain. Sympathetic chain moving on to the superior cervical ganglion. From superior cervical ganglion, fibers ascends across the internal carotid artery. From internal carotid artery, these fibers move along the ophthalmic artery, the artery providing blood supply to the eyeball. Then they join the optic nerve. They join the, what is they are the fibers from the arising from T1 section of the spinal cord. They join the ophthalmic nerve. From the ophthalmic nerve it gives branches, resulting in the formation of the fibers up to the, these fiber reaches up to the nasociliary nerve. Nasociliary nerve. From nasociliary nerve these ascends along long ciliary nerves. Long ciliary nerves, and then they go towards dilator pupillae. There may be spelling mistakes. So now coming on to the constrictor pupillae, the parasympathetic innervation to constrictor pupillae is provided by the oculomotor nerve. Now guys, let me tell you, actually my phone went switch off, so I'm continuing the video. So now telling you about the color of iris. Color of iris mainly depends on the amount of melanocytes present in the stroma of iris. It depends on the absorption and reflection of light, that how much light is absorbed and how much light is reflected back outside. So if the melanocyte count is low, the eyes will be blue. As the melanocyte consists of the pigment melanin, so less melanin, eyes color will be blue. As the amount of melanin goes on increasing, the eyes will become green, then light brown, and then dark brown. So guys, thank you so much. I hope you all liked this video. In the next videos I'll be telling you some more facts about the human eye. Thank you so much.